Cindy and Jim here from OUTAPocket, and today we're tackling a project that I've been looking forward to all summer long.
We're going to be replacing the 120 volt Coleman air conditioning unit that comes standard on the Solis Pocket with this Velit 12 volt unit, which will allow us to run the air conditioner off the batteries we have in the van.
Because right now, the air conditioner that comes with the Pocket needs to be run off of either shore power or off of our generator, which we have. You know, we've got a video on that. But lots of times when we're off grid, we have equipment, we have our mountain bikes, we have our climbing stuff. And it's kind of a pain to use all of that space to cart around a generator.
And it's noisy.
And it's noisy.
It's noisy. Not terribly noisy, but noisy.
But it'd be better to not have any noise.
If you're in stealth,
yeah,
you want to be quiet. So if you've been following our channel, you know that we've made a lot of power upgrades to our van. One of the long-term goals of doing all that was to be able to put in an air conditioner like this, to allow us to run that air conditioner overnight, nice and silent, off the batteries, and keep the van cool when the temperatures rise.
Now, we've had this with us for a couple of months. This is a big project. And as you all know, the Pocket is a finished van. This is not a new build. This isn't an open concept van life van. So our project's going to involve putting the wiring inside the finished walls. And how to do that is going to be a challenge.
I like to say this is going to be easy, but I can't say that about this one. This will be one of the more complicated things we've done to the van.
True, but it does involve power tools.
It does. We'll have plenty of power tools, but I don't exactly know how to do it.
Yeah.
We're going to figure it out as we go along, and you can come along on that journey with us.
So in this video, you're going to see us take this all apart. You're going to see us bench test the air conditioner, which is recommended. You're going to see us, we'll be withdrawing the Coleman air conditioner from the van, installing the new air conditioner, and running the wires all within the van. And hopefully, the van looks the same at the end as it does in the beginning.
I don't know where we're going to run the wires, so we're going to have to do some prep work, figure out, take out panels. I don't know.
We're all going to learn a lot with this one. So
hopefully it'll be fun, and in the end, to have this setup will be really great.
Are we ready?
We're ready.
All right, let's go.
Let's get started. So these things come very well packaged, as you can see in this wooden crate. The model we chose is the Velit 2000R Mini. This is a brand new model this year. The 2000R is a very common 12 volt air conditioner to use on vans, but the Mini is a little bit smaller. And the size is smaller, so your footprint on the roof is a little smaller and the height is a little smaller. You don't give up that much cooling capacity. For us, we're not really going to be operating this thing at maximum cooling all the time. We're really interested in keeping it on eco mode through the evening or through the night. This air conditioner, which is built for vans under 8 feet, just like the Pocket, should be a great size for our needs with our van. We have the unit fully unboxed. It's actually a good size. It's not that tall. I think this should work out great, but I do want to bench test it before we put it on the van. So if there's anything wrong with it, I want to know before we go through all that work. So I hooked the power cable up to the starter battery on our plow truck. I also have a battery charger on it just to keep, so we don't drain it too much. I'm going to plug this thing in. We'll let it run for a few minutes, make sure we get cold air and don't hear anything weird. These are beefy connectors. Okay, there we go.
All right, here we go. All right, I got it running. Apparently I have to point the remote as though I'm in the van right underneath, but it works just fine and I can feel the cool air. In the Pocket, this cabinet is kept up by a magnet attached to the pre-installed air conditioner. Going to have to take that off.
Before I start taking the panel off of the existing air conditioner, I'll obviously unplug this from shore power, but I'm also going to turn off the circuit, 20 amp circuit that goes to the current AC unit. The power's off, so I'm going to take this panel off now. We can see how the current power feeds into it and maybe give us some ideas. I believe I have to pull these off first. These things come out. Like that. Next, these filters come out. There. There are 4 screws here, here, and same on this side. Should bring this panel down. So the good news is, this Coleman air conditioner uses a standard 14-inch by 14-inch opening, which is the same size as Max Air fans and the Velit. If you're looking at 12-volt air conditioners, there are some that don't fit that opening, so that's definitely something to pay attention to. One way or another, this white thing has to come off. It looks like the power goes into this control unit right here. Power's off. We double checked that with the circuit breaker. And there are some seals, so we'll figure that out, but I guess the first step is to loosen this up. All right, so that's that. There we go. So I've unscrewed this panel, this little triangular thing. It looks like that's where we can disconnect the power, loosen this up, disconnect it, and pull it out. There we go. Well, this is what I see. This power, obviously this goes to the upper air conditioning unit. We don't care about that. The power, it looks like they cut a slot in this plywood. So you have the roof panel, this plywood, another piece of plywood. And then this appears to be, that's the roof of the van. And then, not quite sure what that is, plastic. And then this is the gasket, and this is the upper unit. So that's it, that's the roof of the van right there. These are the 4 bolts that if we take off, whole upper AC unit should come off.
I just undid the bolts that held the Velcro to this panel, just these 3, because what we're going to do now is remove this panel to see how the power goes behind and get it over to the batteries.
We've come across this light. Looks like if you just turn it, lens comes off and I should be able to, looks like these overlap, so I'll have to pop that little plug out. Okay, this screw is hidden under this little thing, which I had to pop off. Be very careful, because these go flying. Okay, this old foam is gonna have to come out, and we'll just replace it with something after. Wow. One thing we encountered is these connectors for this light. There's actually metal exposed on both of them. Strand there and a strand sticking out on that one. So that's not the best. I'm just going to wrap these in tape. Make sure they don't touch. Cause a fire.
All right. We're cutting back this insulation carefully, not to cut wires, in order to see where we need to thread the new wiring harness. Okay, now to see where it is. That looks like it could be it. Ah, there we are. Yellow power wire for the Coleman air conditioning. So we've got to thread our wire through there. We're attaching this cord to the old Coleman electrical so that when we draw it through, we'll still have a way to follow it with the new electrical. This is stiff. All right, this might be a gym moment.
It's not Cindy's fault. This cable sleeve appears to be maybe screwed into something, so this bracket is going to come off. We moved outside. This whole wire may be going through a metal rib. I'm going to open this up so we can see. I think we should try to get the wire out first, and then we can deal with that hole. I don't know if we need to widen it. There we go. This is the new cable we have to get in there, which is about twice as big as the old one. That's the only hole all the way to the side of the van, so we're going to have to widen that hole, unfortunately. First, I'll try to drill a pilot hole with this smaller bit. Size doesn't really matter. I will now step up to this 1/2 inch bit. I'm going to try to catch any shavings here. I'm going to attempt to cut between the two holes now with this multi-tool. The plan now is to start feeding the new wires through where this string was. We can't feed this end because of this huge connector, so we'll disconnect this fuse and see if we can start working this wire. These ends will have to go all the way down.
It's through. Went right from there, through to there, across to there, and down to there. Big empty holes, not a great idea for keeping this place warm or cool. So we're going to put in some insulation here to improve the insulation of the pocket.
While Cindy works on the insulation improvements, I'm going to completely take out the air conditioning circuit breaker and wire. I've cut off all the power to this thing before I'm working on it. Nice.
I got all the insulate in. I use little sticky, double-sided sticky tape to keep it to the bulkhead, and I think we're good to go. Now that I've done insulating, I'm taping up the cuts that we made into the outer insulation with this foil tape. So everything's buttoned up.
Looks good. The wire's out. That was a real pain, getting the wire out the back of the panel, but it's done. Circuit breaker's removed. Put it all back together.
Day 3 of our install. No, this isn't an easy install. We're working on the electrical now, how to get the power from the batteries up to the AC system. There's a couple of different ways you can do it. The first is the most simple, the direct route through the 15 feet of 6-gauge wire, right through the hole in the bottom of the van into the house batteries, nothing in between. The pros on that is that it goes through an existing hole. It's a direct route to the house batteries. The cons are this is only 15 feet. This is all we have left to work on to get through the hole to get to the house batteries. It's likely going to be a little short. We're likely going to have to attach the ground wire to the frame of the van and probably can get the positive wire to the positive terminal. Another con is that this is already 15 feet of wire. And if you're going to go down into the house batteries and running your 12-volt air conditioner off of that, it's likely you have a supplemental battery that's helping to feed 12-volt power to the house batteries. So not only are you running the power through the 15 feet here, but you're going to be running the power through the 10, 15 feet of cabling that goes from your supplemental batteries to your house batteries. That can go from 20 to 30 feet of cabling that this power has to go through. You're going to lose voltage, you're going to lose power by the time it gets to the AC system. Not the most efficient way to go about doing things.
The second option is for us to tap into the supplemental power. This is the cable that comes from the supplemental EcoFlow batteries. It's right here in the van already. If I can tap the air conditioner into this cable, this will have a couple advantages. One, it will create the shortest run from the EcoFlow source up to the air conditioner. And the EcoFlow is going to be our main power source when we're running the air conditioner. And second, I can cut out and eliminate all of this extra cable length, so we'll have the most efficient system possible.
There's a couple of cons to tapping directly into your supplemental energy source. The first one, well, it's really kind of more of a con for Jim. He's going to have to cut into both the air conditioning wire and the supplemental, in our case, the EcoFlow wires, to splice the system all together. The second thing is you're going to be left with one wire that goes from the junction down to the house batteries. In this case, it's a 6-gauge wire, and we're going to have to be very careful not to overload that wire with too much current. if it's not going to be a good idea to run the air conditioner at the same time we're driving down the road and trying to power up the EcoFlow batteries using the alternator charger. It's going to be too much current. It's going to overwhelm the system. So if you have any intentions of doing that, running this air conditioner at the same time you're trying to recharge the EcoFlow batteries with the alternator charger, this would not be the solution for you. You should choose to wire it directly to the house batteries or replace that length with a thicker gauge wire.
We have decided to splice into these wires. I got these distribution blocks. We'll be able to mount in here somewhere to connect the pieces of the system together. We'll be able to cut out these extra sections of wire, so we'll have the most efficient setup that we can. I don't see us ever using the air conditioner when we're driving. We'll never want to charge the EcoFlow batteries at the same time, so I don't think there's any risk of overloading the system at all. The runs will be a little more than 15 feet, so there'll be some voltage drop, but I don't think it's going to cause a problem for us. To make sure I don't electrocute myself when I cut open those wires, the first thing we'll do is shut off the load to the house batteries. Now we have to crawl under and disconnect them. Here we are on the right-hand house battery. This is the ground. This is a 1/2 inch nut. We're going to undo the ground. Now, be very careful not to drop this nut. I've done that before. It's not fun. You always disconnect the ground first, so the rest of the vehicle isn't connected to the batteries anymore. Okay. Just undo these. Here I am at the left-hand battery. This is the positive terminal, but while we're here, this is the hole from the electrical area up above. You can see if you were using the standard air conditioner cable, might have enough room to get to that positive terminal, and then you'd have to attach the negative to vehicle ground somewhere, find a bolt or somewhere to attach it to ground. So it probably would just barely reach. But again, we're not taking that approach. We're going to splice in, so let's get the positive disconnected. I guess technically if the negative's disconnected, that's enough, but I prefer to play it safe. There's that. This is our existing alternator charger. This is the main house battery. So batteries are disconnected. Now we can cut the wires. Now that I have my distribution points mounted, I'm going to start measuring out the cable lengths. Remember, this cable length needs to also include that. So it's really this black one that's going to dictate how far it has to go to get onto that. So I guess we can cut it off like about there. So I don't know, 1.5 feet. Here goes nothing. I bought these big wire cutters just for this purpose. You ready?
I'm ready.
Black, I'm checking, that's black. Here we go. I have to strip the insulation off so that we can put the crimp end on. There, see? I have my heat shrink tubing on here. I had to make that a little bit wider. Now we'll put this end on it. Like that. Get it on there pretty good. Now the crimping tool. Right on there. Crank that right down there. Okay. That's about it. Now we release. There you go. That thing's on there. That's what we'll do to the wires. Now I'll melt this right over that with the heat gun. Okay, that one looks good. To cut the other one from the air conditioner, I want to come back the same amount because remember we have that. So we need to take the same amount off each one, which will take us to there. We have the wires for the air conditioner pretty much lined up. I haven't tightened it all yet. The next step, I'm going to cut into this cable from the EcoFlow. We're going to remove the extra in the middle and get that wired into the same blocks. Hopefully it'll be long enough. I'll give it a little extra to be safe. This looks like this is going to be about it, Cindy. I think everything's lined up. We've got the wires from the air conditioner, from the battery, and from the EcoFlow all coming to these two boxes. Tighten those up. Put those caps on like that. And like that. Looks good. Came out good.
And here comes our help putting the air conditioners in, driving his own Solis Pocket.
So this is Tom. He's a fellow Pocket owner from the area. He's here to help us take out the old AC unit on top and put in the new one. How long have you had your Pocket, Tom?
3.5 years, actually. Almost 60,000. Love it. Great little adventure vehicle.
Sure
I use it for cycling, skiing, and thanks to Jim and Cindy's videos, I've been doing some upgrades. Got a nice roof rack on there with extra solar.
Perfect.
Going to do the Starlink next.
Awesome, awesome.
The AC that we're doing today, I don't know that I would go that far, but you never know.
You never know.
Never know.
Now that our helper's here, time to try to take this unit off. Shroud has to come off. A little bit of elbow grease just popped up. It was just kind of stuck. Maybe the gasket had some sealant on it, but this thing is loose now. So it weighs about 80 pounds. This is why we needed a helper.
I get it.
All right, I'm letting go.
Got it. Okay. Whoa.
I told you I was letting go.
Yeah, I know. I was just surprised.
All right.
Okay, let's set it on this.
We got the air conditioner down. This is a comparison of the two air conditioners. You can see they are substantially different in height. The Coleman is about 11 inches, and this one is about 7 inches. We have got a very, very tight gap in between the top of the Pocket with this on top going into our garage. This is going to be so much better. This is about 80 pounds. This is about 55 pounds. This was at the most 26 inches across. And this one, actually, this is similar in width. It's about 26 inches. Being able to poke up through the roof of the Pocket makes it really easy to clean where the new gasket's going to go on the top. And since there already was an air conditioner here before, they've already worked out the flat surface that we have to put it on. So it should be pretty easy.
This is the new gasket that comes with the new air conditioner. I have it right where I want it. So I'm going to mark that location with masking tape. Now that the location's marked, we had a decision to make whether to use a sealant or not. And there are different opinions out there. After doing the research, we decided we are going to put a bead of sealant on the bottom of this. Stop. Stop right there. Do not do this. Our recommendation is to not use any sealant on the gasket. Flip that gasket over, use the existing adhesive onto the top of the van, and don't put anything on the top. What happens is you're going to start putting that air conditioner in, you're going to need to move it, lift it back out, adjust it. With the sealant and the stickiness, it just made a mess. The gasket was stuck, keeps popping up, we're getting sealant all over our hands. Just use the gasket the way it comes. I believe this was a mistake to have done it with the sealant.
Wait, don't do this yet. There's a few things you have to get done first before you drop it in. You need to carve out an area for the power cord to go. It's too tight on the side. And you need to put in the mounting rods before you drop it in because it shows you right where it's supposed to go within the hole. Doing these two things before you drop it in will make your life much easier.
We got the air conditioner dropped into place, but we encountered a major problem, and that's that the tolerance on the sides is so tight, and there are these blocks of plywood, of wood in here, that this wire simply doesn't have enough room to fit on the side of the air conditioner. It needs to be tucked in somehow. So the plan is to use this oscillating multi-tool to try to cut out a piece of this wood on the side. It goes in a ways. Cut out enough to make a channel to get to the back of the unit. That's the plan. There. That should work. Just build this channel out there. So this is the channel that we made. There's enough room now. Really wasn't that bad. It helps to have the right tool. This little tiny blade on this thing. But there's plenty of room now, so we should be able to try again.
All right, down, go ahead. All right, it's in. Yep.
Those pins go there. 4 brass things in the corner. Actually, that one's in, you can see. So those have to fit, and they barely fit in the hole. So make sure you line those up when you drop it in, or maybe you want to put those pins in before you drop it in. Just putting Loctite on these because don't want them loosening up. The tolerance is so tight against the sheet metal. Okay, time to start tightening these lower nuts. It was impossible to put the upper nuts on. They wanted you to have nuts way up at the top, but the tolerance of the metal, it's just, there's no way. So we're just going to tighten these as best we can. And so we're reversing this bracket. Despite what the picture showed in the manual, it needs to be turned around, otherwise the panel doesn't fit. I don't like how this bracket is pushing against the headliner here. There's plywood for the most part under there, or wood. So I'm going to cut out the headliner right here around those brackets so that's up against the wood, not compressing the headliner. These brackets are meant to go up here and pinch up against the roof. At first they were pinching against this headliner, but now underneath that in this, it's air. This is the same place the wire went through on that side. So now I cut these little pieces of wood. I was able to get this 3/4 inch piece of wood slotted in there, so now the bracket's going to press up against that into this plywood in the middle of the roof. That's really what we need. Hopefully this is the last time I have to put this bracket on again. I think I've had it on and off like 6 times. We've been torquing these nuts down to the required 5 Newton meters, but we had to use the long posts on the air conditioner and we've reached the limit, so have to cut these off lower. First we tried Sawzall. That didn't work. I couldn't get high enough. Then we tried the oscillating multi-tool and I just completely chewed through the metal blade in 2 seconds. So now we're upgrading to the Saw's cutoff tool.
The smoke detector.
Oh, the smoke detector in the van. That's funny.
The old Coleman had a bigger faceplate than the new air conditioner faceplate, and all the trim is cut to that size. So what we're doing is tracing out the old Coleman faceplate on a piece of 1/8 inch plastic, and we're going to cut a new base area to go under the new faceplate, which will be the same shape and size as the old unit. Jim just finished hooking up the house batteries. So before we finish off the interior of it, we're going to see if this works. Nothing blew up, so I'm hopeful. It's on. Now, eco mode?
Yeah.
Oh, I heard the compressor kick in.
Oh, awesome.
It is cold.
Oh, yeah.
Now, right now, these are running off of the house batteries, not the EcoFlow batteries, but it works.
It works.
And we're not hooked up to shore power at all. It's pretty quiet.
It sounds great.
I love it.
And you get cold air?
Totally cold air on eco mode. It's perfect. Jim finished cutting out the panel we're going to use to plug up the holes. And well, now we'll see if it works. Look at that.
Oh, nice.
It's perfect.
I am installing the final finishing panel on this thing. Because of the wiring is so tight, I had to cut out the very corner of this. The other thing is these screw holes are going to line up, but these ones seem pretty far off, so I'll probably have to drill to attach it. We came to reinstall this magnet for that bracket, but the cabinet hits the new air conditioner right back here. So this magnet holder won't work. Our solution was this gas strut, which holds the cabinet open. It doesn't even hit the air conditioner. Tucks right in like that. Works perfectly.
This was a big build. Biggest one we've ever done.
Very complicated, but it came out great.
Yeah, really did.
It just, there were a number of things to overcome that you run into when doing a project this big. But I do love the final product.
This is not a by the numbers build. You're going to be improvising. You're going to be figuring it out as you go along.
We also had to have a lot of tools.
Yeah, but that was the fun part.
To solve the different problems
I like that part.
that we ran into. And tackling this, you know, again, those three things we would not do the same next time.
Right.
The gasket,
Preloading the bolts in.
preloading the bolts, and then
And
the
carving out
channel
where
for the power cord.
Right.
Those were the three biggest things that
Right.
if we were to do it again, we would really do that differently. And then the final sting in the tail was we tried to put in the final panel and the holes just don't line up. So our solution to that is a pilot hole and self-tapping metal screws. But it's a great upgrade though.
We adore it.
Visually, it just looks so much better. You don't have that huge black wart stuck to the back of the top of your pocket. It's sleek. It's really not even that much higher than the roof rack. Total stealth.
Yeah.
Great upgrade.
I would do it again. I would absolutely do it again.
I would
It was
too.
a really.
I would too.
It's
and
a
next
great
time,
product.
we'd do it differently. Hopefully you learn from our experience.
And
so
do
if
it
you
right the
tackle
first
this,
time.
you'll do those things right the first time as
Right.
well.
Right.
Thanks a lot for watching.
And as always, if this is of use to you, feel free to like and subscribe and drop us a comment. We love to hear from you.
Please do. We really appreciate it.
And until next time.
See you later.